Hello and thank you for subscribing to Infoverse Tech, where we explore new technologies like big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Today we're gonna review a very important tool if you're working in the area of machine learning, or working as a Python programmer, or aspiring to be a data scientist. The project is under Anaconda and it's called Jupyter Notebook. It's available on the web as well as on your desktop. Here you can see this green circle. That's my installation on the desktop. So I'm going to launch that and I'm going to guide you through how to use Jupyter Notebooks. We're going to do a very basic demo just to get you interested, and I would highly recommend that you install this or at least use the web version to allow you to become familiar and use this tool. This should be in your toolkit. Okay, so this is the Anaconda Navigator, and here, as you can see, there are a number of tools that are available within this Navigator. UI, as mentioned, we are going to talk about Jupyter Notebook. I'm going to launch it here. This is like I said, this is running on my desktop, and it's I just launched it, so it's launching a notebook. Let's just wait for it to open up. Okay, so it opens up a browser window, and as you can see, I have some information here. I'm going to start with creating a folder, and I'm going to select it and rename it. So I'm going to call it Learning Jupyter, and if you notice, it's spelled with the Y instead of I, the planet that we know. So let me rename that and go ahead and create a new project or new notebook in Python 3. Okay, so it opens up another window. Now the key things to note here is you have the regular file, save, open a new notebook. One of the advantages of a notebook is that I can maybe create a program, create a notebook which includes the accompanying documentation within that notebook, and then I can share it perhaps on GitHub or some other repository. You can take that notebook, you can open it, and you can run the same commands. So very easy to share programs, codes like this. And you'll find on the web there are many notebooks that are available for you to run and explore this exciting area of data science. So let's go ahead and run some. The basic way is you have the cell, and you can see the cursor is flashing or blinking, waiting for an input. So I'm just going to run through some very basic commands. Let's say if you're working on Python, I'm running some basic commands. Let's say I'm doing multiplication. So once I enter that information, I can either run it using run as shown here, and it'll give me the answer, or what I can do is I can write another expression, and what I'm going to do is I can do shift enter, and it'll do the same command like running it. Now the interesting thing with the Jupyter Notebook is I can go back here, I can change that to a 9. Let's say I was editing code, so I can make that change, and then I can rerun that, and you'll see that it just runs that cell. So this is important because it allows me to run a specific area of the code, and once I'm satisfied that the whole code is working, I can then do a run all, and it'll run all the code that we have in the notebook. So very interesting way to capture this information. I can also insert a cell, and it can be above or below the one that you're working on. You can see it's got some numbers tracking you where you are in terms of the code entered. This can allow you to insert code in between the different lines of code that you already have written. So let's go ahead and write some more code, and this is, like I said, very simple. The idea is to demonstrate the power and capability of a notebook, a Jupyter Notebook. Let me do let's say some division, a classic division, and that gives me in float. I can also do a floor division. Just go back and change that to a double slash, and if I rerun that, it does not include the decimal part. I can also write a quick function. So let's say power x to the power y. I'm just following the syntax here for a Python function. I can say return x y, and I can say please run that. So if it runs as is shown here in the next cell without any error message, that means our function was right. So let's go ahead and just double check that. So I want to do power, let's say 2 to the power 3, that I should get 8 as an answer. So that means that's correct. Let me just go back and perhaps change this to another number and see how that responds. I'm going to use the mouse here to run that, and it says perfect. So 1024. So our function is working as well. Let's say this was more elaborate code and I wanted to share it with you or with the community. I can go ahead and make a copy or do a save as, and here it will ask me the location. I have learning Jupyter, and I can give it first code and say save. Okay, and I can now come back here and look at my my code here, and it shows first code IPNY. IP is from the original IPython, and NB is for notebook. So it's saved here. Now I can take this first code notebook and share with the community or anyone else that I'm working on and who needs to see my code. So let's go back and perhaps close this, and let's go ahead and close this, and we go ahead and reopen it. So I go back to that folder and I open it, and so this I've taken that code and I'm able to run that as is. Perhaps I wanted to go and make a change to my function, or I just wanted to rerun this with another code change. I just select this and I run that. So this was code that I had written, and I'm now rerunning that. So I might need to rerun this. So let me run that and then rerun this, and it gives me the correct answer. So when I open up that notebook, I just need to rerun some of the definitions that I had in the notebook, and we should be good to go. So this was a very quick and simple introduction to Jupyter Notebook. I would encourage you to install it and run it, and this is an essential tool in your toolkit. If you're aspiring to be a data scientist, this is one of the tools that you must have. Thank you very much for watching, and do look forward to further videos in this machine learning series of projects that I'm working on. Thank you.